All right, I had a request from a viewer named Captain Gramps to show a little bit more about how I trap pinfish. And I thought with a name like Captain Gramps, I didn't want to disappoint. That handle has some elevated connotation to it. I mean, you're a captain, you're a grandpa, you don't want to disappoint that dude. So this is the video for you, and thanks for the comment. Stay tuned to the end of the story about how I nearly died from a pinfish. I know it sounds stupid. I do have receipts, and I'll show you that. I'll tell you the story. It was pretty crazy. All right. So I have two types of traps with me. These are the two that I've been using. This is my favorite trap right here. Pretty small. Son of a... All right. It's about, I'd say it's 16 by 12. Real basic trap. It only has two doors, two ways for the pinfish to enter. They go in, they go up. There's a little spot here where it's blocked. They go in, they go up, and they can't find their way out. So super easy trap. The door is super easy. It's just on a elastic cord here. And what I love about this trap is how easy it is to get the door open and shut. I know where it is. It's right on top. When I pull it up, it's right in front of me. I've got maybe an 8-foot line that came with it, and just a standard buoy here. All right, the second trap, which I don't like as much, and I'll explain, is much larger, and it's got 6 entry points that are kind of the same. One cool thing it does have, though, it has a bait area, so you just load the bait from the top, super easy. And the bait in this one won't get in the way, it stays in the middle, whereas in the other trap, the bait can go wherever it wants to. But honestly, it's never been a problem. This thing catches way more pinfish. But I do like this bait door here, and I hate this door. So what I find with this bigger trap is it's hard to find the door. Maybe I should put a mark on here or something so that it's clear for me. And I pulled this up a number of times and just struggled to find this latch. And also, I don't like how there's a ridge here. When I spill it out, and the pinfish are on the top, when I'm turning it over like this, they get stuck there and they don't fall out. I wish this was not here. Before I show you how I'm going to bait them, I want to talk about theft for a second. So it does happen. It's been pretty infrequent, however. I've lost 2 of these traps over the course of 3 years. But one tip I want to point out is, you can see my buoys don't have any markings on them. What I found was we had traps with markings on them, our initials, those got stolen. So I think the reason is that when I put these down, I think people think they're stone crab traps, and they don't want to bother with a commercial stone crab trap. But if I mark them, I think people know that they're recreational pinfish traps, and somebody might go pull them. Now, in saying that, I want to be completely transparent. I did literally, in this same grass flat I'm in, I did literally run one over, and I just saw bits of buoy after me. I was driving along idle speed, and I just caught out of the corner of my eye that the buoy popped up. It must have been in a higher spot, and I looked behind me and there was just chunks floating. I felt terrible about it, but you know, that's the risk you take. You know, what are you going to do? Accidents happen, but theft can occur. And that's why I normally trap, like I find an area where I'm in here, people don't trap much right here. I don't see a lot of people here. Like a real common area where I live out of Southwest Florida is Picnic Island. I think everybody knows Picnic Island is a great place to catch bait, and I don't trap there. I did it for a couple weekends and lost the trap, and I was like, no, there's just too many people. So either somebody ran it over or somebody stole it. I don't know, but I didn't have the trap anymore. All right, let's bait these up, and I'll set them, and then I'll come back in the morning and pick them up. I don't like leaving the traps out more than 2 days. Just the compassionate side of me, I guess. I don't like the thought of having something trapped and to potentially go to waste, or you know, I want to take care of the resources. I know they're pinfish. One did try to kill me. I don't like leaving them over 2 days if I can help it. I have had weather come in where it didn't happen, and I've left them for 3 or 4 days, picked them up, and they were in there. So anyway, let me get these set. Tomorrow I'll pick them up. Hopefully they'll be chock full, and we'll have a great day of fishing. And then I'll show you how I keep these fish at my dock so that I get out during the week often just for short trips. And a lot of times I'll just take a dozen pinfish with me and have a really fun night. And so I'll show you how I pen these up and how I take care of them and keep them fed and keep them lively. Enough talking, let's bait these up, and I'm gonna go fishing afterwards. All right. So as far as bait goes, I found nearly everything works. I didn't have luck with catfish. That's the only fish that hasn't worked for me so far. In this case, I just dug around in my freezer. These are just frozen finger mullet. They're gonna be great. One negative with the mullet is they'll break down a little quicker. Like I said earlier, I'm gonna pick these traps up tomorrow anyway, so it really doesn't matter. I'm gonna cut up these finger mullet and drop them in. 2 to 3 per. And what I'm gonna do is just cut them in half. What I like to do is just make sure you've got some flesh exposed, but I don't necessarily want it all exposed. I want that skin to protect it a little bit because I just don't want it to get destroyed so quick. These pinfish are ferocious. They will just annihilate things and they'll start eating each other. So they're buggers. You know, what am I gonna say? All right, 3 for you. We'll do 3 for you. I'll get my other traps are in the back. All right, let me go get the other traps. One quick tip I'll just throw out there when you're dealing with these traps is move slow. They're not finished well. I mean, they're prickly everywhere. You get cut. When you touch them every time, I feel like I get cut. Use gloves. I'm not going to listen to my own advice there. Just too lazy to put gloves on. You know, just because I say it doesn't mean I do it. I'm on the internet. But hey, just go slow with them. They suck sometimes. All right. Ooh, that's a beauty. And again, I'm leaving skin, a lot of skin on these. I don't want to like gut them. If I was fishing for sharks or something, I would cut them right down the middle. But I'm not doing that here. I want these things to last as long as they can. So you can see the benefit of this one. I've got them right in the middle. Here they're just falling around, but I tell you, these traps, as ridiculous as it looks, just crushes it. All right, let's go to squid. I've actually never used squid, but I know it'll work. Oh, this isn't squid even. What the heck? Huh, thought I had squid. I got threadfin, it looks like. Oh, these are gonna be killer, dude. I got a big old block of threadies. Look at that. In a squid box. What are you gonna do? All right, put some in there. Again, just kind of exposing some flesh. Look at that, that's a beautiful piece. You know you're a fisherman when you get all excited when you open up and it's threadfin. Whee! Threadfin, not squid. Squid stink, man, I'm telling you. Like, these are so frozen, I can just, look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm gonna have to take a shower tonight, but we're just chopping these bad boys up. Oh boy, now they're getting frozen good. You know, I got a big trip planned tomorrow. I'm taking out some new friends. I want to try to impress them. So I want to go heavy on the bait. Like I said earlier, I don't necessarily think you need it, but what am I going to do with this? I'm not bringing this home to a lady friend. Say, hey, let's put this in the fridge for tomorrow. She's not out here for a reason. She's not really into this kind of activity, but she supports me doing it, which is nice. Anytime when you're out on a boat with a knife in your hand, when you're by yourself, I say take extra precaution. I know I'm not the safety police, but that's what's going through my mind. There we go. All right, look at that nice chunk. That's gonna score us. I'm putting that in my favorite trap. Get in there, buddy. Get in there and you're going to work here in a second. Now the fun part's about to start. Okay. I'm a cooler guy. Whoa, we got a straggler. We got a straggler. We got a straggler. I'm putting him in a hole. Why not? I got so much bait in there. Okay. All right, that's it officially. Now I'm a cooler guy. I love having nice coolers. This cooler, the red one, do not use for food. Just recording that. Just so people know, I got a red one, I got a black one. The red one is red for blood. That's only for bait. And look at that. That's an ugly cooler. That cooler has seen some things. All right, I'm gonna drop these in. I'll show you how I do that. Super simple. Okay, so again, just to reiterate, I'm going slow. I got everything baited. I just got to make sure the doors are locked. I got my bait door. I want to make sure that's locked. Good. I'm gonna shut this baby. All right, there we go. And when I throw this in, what I'm trying to do, I'm just drifting along here. What I want to do is look for grass. I'm over real dark grass right now. I can see it pretty clearly. I'm trying to find patches. And if I don't find them, that's okay. I got 4 traps. There's a lighter spot there. I'm going to throw it in. This trap's got so many doors on it, I don't think it matters, but I'll explain in the small trap why I'm considering that here as I drop. So I'm going to drop right there where I see a little bit lighter spot. And obviously throwing it bottom down. There we go, we're set. There's our first pot. We're going to keep on going down the line as we go through this grass flat. All right, in this trap, I'm going to drop a GoPro in it. We're dropping our cheapest GoPro down. Just do a little bit of scientific research here. Good luck to you, buddy. I hope you come back to me. I love this spot. I do think this should catch him. Yeah, that's perfect. There's grass there. See, this one's only got doors on the side. I'm going to throw it this way because the tide goes this way on this spot. And so I want the tide to either go into that door or out of the door. My buddy Mike Moran showed me that trick. I don't know if it works or not, but it kind of makes sense. I like the idea of it. Yeah, kind of thing, like all these little tiny nuances, you know, may as well do it. It can only help you. All right, look at that, I almost screwed up. Another reason I like those pots better is it's obvious if the door's open or not. Maybe that's just something I need. All right, again, this looks perfect. Beautiful. And I know I'm in a good spot because I just trapped here. I'm not going to worry about spacing these too much. And here, maybe a little sandy. All right, let's let those rock. I'm going to pull up that one with the camera in a couple hours and just see what we got just for fun. I'll drop it again, pick them up all tomorrow. If there's bait in there, I'll pull it and pen it. But anyway, normally I let them sit overnight. Let's go screw around. All right, let's get ready just in case we have some luck. Live well is filling. All right, let's check this pot. It hasn't been down for very long. I'm not expecting anything in there, but I just wanted to pull it because it has like the camera in it. So obviously when you pull it, you want to think about where the pot's going to come up. I'm drifting this way, the pot's that way. I should be clear and not scrape my boat up, but go slow. There we go. Already got them all in a line. Look at that, beautiful. I don't know if the camera picks it up, but you can see a big grass patch that goes out like that. Get them tomorrow. All right, so obviously this is a different day. We got different weather. I'm out here with some buddies and we're doing having some fun, but this is what the trap should look like. All right, we got a few in there. Not great, but that's also why I got 4 traps out.
How'd you do? Ooh.
There's a dozen in there, so. This one should be loaded. Boat's backing up. Watch your footing. Oh, that's terrible, dude. All right, we're picking away. Not the catch I thought, but we're picking away. Neutral.
You got it?
Hopefully warm.
There's the one.
All right, that's what we were looking for. But again, that's why I got 4 traps out. Everything had the same bait. Yep. Last pot. Not great. All right, well. These aren't the greatest conditions to be shooting this in here, Captain Gramps. Wanted to show you what I'm doing to trap pinfish. So that's basically it in a nutshell. All right, so now that I'm back at the dock, all I got to do is transfer all of those pinfish into a bucket, and then I'll show you the way that I use my pen. So all right, let's pull them out. A quick trick I'll throw out there too is I turn the well off now, and I'm going to start draining it. Just more water, more volume, it's just harder to get them. So now I can get scooping. Look at that. So Keep in mind, if I were at a bait shop, each one of these would be $1.50. My pinfish traps are like 50 to 60 bucks each. So just with this bait alone, if I can keep it alive, and if I can get them in the bucket, come there, buddy. I mean, this fish could turn into a memory. I gotta keep them good. These things are expensive. It's worth it for me to do this. Sure, it's a lot of work. It's part of the fun as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I have so much here. I'm gonna have to make sure I feed them every day, quite a bit of food, which means, like, you know, a handful of shrimp. And you gotta use big enough shrimp so it doesn't fall through your pen, obviously. And I have a little tradition. I know this is silly, but I always let the last one go. I feel like you survived that far, I'm gonna let you go. It's my karma pinfish, I guess. But the last one always gets a free stay. Out of all those pinfish, this was the last to get caught. Go live your life, buddy. That's just a little tradition I started a little while ago. All right, now I gotta transfer these into the pen. I'll show you how I do that. All right, so I keep this pen off my dock right here. I've got some in there from the first day, just a few. What I like to do is angle it like this, so when I pour them in, they don't have to fall too far. So I angle it like this and just get a pour in and let them roll down. We'll let this one go. All right, that's a lot of pinfish. I'll keep those pinfish for really a couple of weeks. If they start to show signs of like red tails and really red noses where they're beaten into the cages, they start to slow down. You know, I can still catch fish with them, but I know they're kind of on their last legs, they're getting tired. You know, I'm a fisherman, I want tons of bait, but I also don't want to keep bait that I don't need. If I know I'm not going to need it, I either give it to my friends down the canal or just let them go. But now I know for sure I've got bait for weeks and weeks. I got spots within 20 minutes of me where, you know, I can go out in the evening now and just take a scoop of those pinfish and turn that into a big, big snooks. But anyway, look forward to some videos of me using this bait. I'll try to reference this video in those. So if you watch this and then you watch the other ones, you know what I turn that into. It might be kind of a fun thing for me to try to do. All right, well, that's all from Canal Life for right now. Hope you have a good night. Boom, I'm done. All right, I promised a story about a near-death experience. I had to wait till a little bit later in the day. I don't like to talk about it, but this did happen. By the way, I'm rocking Uncle Dave's IPA. I got this from my good buddy Brian. About to get boarded here by some dude. I'm gonna go around this guy. Discretion Brewing. I don't know. Santa Cruz, California. Check that out. Here's the story. So I moved down to Florida, and I'm just learning how to throw a cast net. So happy. I'm a Minnesota guy, fish salmon in California, and I'm out here in Florida learning to catch bait. It's like the most Florida thing you could possibly do, in my opinion. There were times when I was just stoked. I'd go out and just catch bait. I wouldn't even, I mean, I'd try to catch some snook and reds and whatever, but I was just happy if I was able to throw a pancake once out of every 5 throws. That's kind of where my learning curve was. I'm out there, I'm all by myself, way up north of Pine Island, on a big grass flat out there. I throw the net, and I cleared it. I got what I'd caught, put it back into the well, and went to go cast again. I picked it up, and I grabbed it really hard. I don't know why. I'm just a big strong man, I guess. Oh, anyway, I grabbed it really hard, and there was a huge pinfish still in the net. And the pin from the top quill, or I don't know what you call it, I'm not a biologist, but the frickin' spiny bit, I know that, hit me in the finger here, and I mean, it was in the bone. I mean, I could feel it, like it stuck. It wasn't just a prick, it was in the bone. I get it out of there. I was so mad, I chucked the pinfish in the water, and I thought, how dumb is that? At least I could have cut his head off. He's the frick got bait. Anyway, I hope he's still doing well. It pricks me really good. That happens. So all day I'm fishing, and it just felt different. It was throbbing. It was a wound that was unlike any wound I'd had before, really. And I thought, well, it's because it went to the bone. I mean, how often does that ever happen? So like 2 days go by, maybe a day and a half or 2 days, I don't know. And it wasn't the next day. All of a sudden I noticed like this red streak run through my hand, like a bright red track. I was like, holy cow, and it swelled up. I had a bandage on it, and I was putting Neosporin on it. I used some cleaning stuff, but I was treating it with Neosporin, kept a tight wrap on it, and it felt like it was getting bigger. And I'm like, oh my God, it's swelling up. Take the bandage off, I look at it, it's just discolored, it's large, and I got this red streak coming down. So I go, I'm in a meeting. I work from home. I'm in a meeting, and I get up and I walk over to my wife, and I'm like, what the hell? You know, what is this about? And she goes, should you be going to the doctor? Like, why do women think that? Guys don't. Anyway, so I was like, oh, okay. So I go to, I went to MD now. It's pretty close, and it was just, you know, you don't have to make an appointment. And I go in there, and the doctor comes out, and he's looking at it, and he's like, okay, that looks like a blood infection. It was obvious to him what it was, a blood infection. I told him the whole Pinfish story. I made it sound probably a little bit more grand than it probably was. But he takes a pen out, and he draws a pen on my wrist. I got a little stuff there. I've been fishing. That didn't taste good. Hey, how are you? So he draws a pen on my wrist, and he says, if that red line gets past this line, go directly to the emergency room. And I heard that specific, go directly to the emergency room. I believe it was a Monday. So I'm like, okay. I go home and I'm watching like Monday Night Football, just chilling, and I keep looking at it. It's not moving at all. It's totally fine. So I'm like, okay, it's receding. My body, due to my training and my tough mental fortitude, is fighting this whatever disease off. So it's like, okay. I purposely don't wash this hand. I leave the marker on there and go to bed. And then I wake up the next morning and I'm like, hey, how are you? I wake up the next morning and I'm like, son of a bitch. Like, it is way up here. Like, it is like a bright red. All right, he's in a pontoon. That's acceptable. It is bright red up to my elbow and charging. Like, I'm like, what the hell? Like, this thing attacked me at night. So I go back to MD now, and the same dude is there. And I said, hey, check it out. It went past this, but it was here before I went to bed. Now it's here. He goes, well, yeah. He said something about like, yeah, it's going to happen at night. Well, like, bro, you know, like maybe I should have set an alarm for 2 in the morning. I don't know if it happens to you guys. I would recommend that. Set an alarm every couple hours if you're watching a freaking blood infection go up your arm. I didn't know what it was. You know, I'm just hanging out. I was happy I went to the doctor and talked to somebody. So it's making a run up my arm. I go to him, and the first thing he says is, he said, I told you to go to the emergency room. And I thought to myself, yeah, you did. I listened, but I didn't really remember. My wife's used to that. But anyway, he goes, you got to go right now. So he gets on the phone. He said, can you drive? I was like, well, I drove here. Yeah, I can drive. I feel totally fine. I just got this big red streak running up my arm. And so anyway, he calls the emergency room, gives them my name and my information. He's like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, holy shit, this is a little more serious than I might have thought. I jump in the car, run to the ER. And I get there. It's maybe a 10-minute drive or something. The whole time I'm just staring at this red line thinking, is it moving or not? And, you know, it didn't really seem like it was moving, but, I don't even know what I have. I just know that that dude was freaked out. And I also know that that dude knew a lot more than I knew. So I get there, and it's COVID time. So there's people in the ER. There's a lot of people in the lobby. And I walk in, and there's a gurney sitting out in the front with 2 nurses. And they're like, are you Dave? When I walked in. And I'm like, yeah. And they just threw me in the gurney, rolled me around the door. I didn't even check in. They rolled me right around the door, and they just, boom, both arms with IVs. And then they just started riddling me with questions. And they kept grabbing my armpit, both armpits. And I was like, what are you doing? Apparently, now I know that they were feeling my lymph node in my armpit. And if it was painful, that would have meant that the infection would have spread past my lymph node. But they don't tell you anything. They're just, everybody who comes up to me, and I'm talking a lot of people, came up and just started grabbing me in the right armpit here. So I was like, finally, I was like, what are you guys checking for? Like, hit me up on this. And they explained it to me. But anyway, so they're pumping me full of IVs. I'm just sitting there. There's not like a room available. And everybody's talking. My wife shows up. and she's getting the download from the doctor and from the nurses and everybody who's been treating me. And she's visibly freaking out. And I'm like, why are you freaking out? It was a freaking pinfish. It was a pinfish. I got a blood infection. Big deal. Let's go. I'll go next weekend. So finally a room opens up. They put me in the room. And I'm just sitting there. I just got IVs. It's no big deal. I mean, it wasn't by any means comfortable, but it was just like, okay, just flush this out of me is what I'm thinking. Turns out that they thought they were treating it like it was flesh-eating bacteria. I mean, I've heard of that on the news. I don't know what it looks like. I didn't know I was in that kind of danger, but apparently I was, and they knew it, and they treated me well. My wife knew it, and she was worried, and I was in the hospital I was in that room in the ER for a couple days, and luckily it receded, but it was freaky for them to say, okay, if it doesn't recede, like hit this button. I'm sitting there like, what? There's a pinfish. And then all these nurses come in and doctors come in and like, hey, are you the guy that's in here on a pinfish prick? I'm like, well, let's tell people something else. But yeah, I mean, frickin' pinfish got me real good. And anyway, it was a funny story once I knew I was safe. But, I didn't know I was in the danger I was. I got great care from Lee Memorial. Met some really cool people, especially a lot of nurses who like to fish. We were just sitting there talking fishing. And they were all joking about the fact that a pinfish, apparently it happens a couple times a year, and I just got super unlucky that pinfish had bacteria on that spine that obviously got very deep into my blood system. But that's my true pinfish story. Here's me in the hospital bed. That's no joke. I'm living to tell the story. I don't know what I actually have done different other than going right to the emergency room like the guy told me, but live and learn, man. Happy it didn't take me down, man. That's a bad way to go. That's Darwin stuff. Anyway, that's my pinfish story. Brian, thanks for the Uncle Dave. Appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, I'm enjoying this, telling my story in the canal. All right, I'm out.